1.1 is the Rose Valley Water Service Area updates, and Chief Administrative Officer Ron Bowles will speak to that.
Okay, thank you.
Through your worship, to council, first of all, I'd just like to start off by saying we really thank the public for bearing with us as we work through the commissioning of our state-of-the-art water treatment plant facility for the Rose Valley area. On October 3rd, we did release a public service announcement, which is basically an update on where we're at in commissioning of the plant. And maybe before I pass the floor over to Rob Hillis with our engineering department to discuss the public service announcement a little bit more, I'd just like to say that we would like to hear from customers. So if we do have customers that have odor or discoloration concerns, please contact us at 778-797-2246, or if you'd like to email, just email utilities@westkelownacity.ca. So it's utilities@westkelownacity.ca. So we just thought tonight would be a great opportunity, because it's another a public event, council's meeting, to talk a little bit about where we're at with the commissioning of the plant. And Mr. Hillis will give you a quick, he's not going to read this whole update, but he's going to just give you a couple of the highlights.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Bowles, and welcome, Mr. Hillis.
Rose Valley Water Service Area and speak about the water treatment plant and Rose Valley Lake. As our CIO mentioned, commissioning is a longer term process. It's going to take likely up to 2 years, maybe longer. Other impacts, including the McDougall Creek wildfire, has impacted the local watershed around the Rose Valley Lake, so that will contribute to changes in source water quality. Source water quality will typically change in those types of lakes twice a year, with spring and fall overturns mixing from material that's on the bottom to the top, changing our source water quality, which we experienced in mid-September. Going back to our original manganese challenges in the summer, we were able to work with consultants, both that designed the water treatment plant and that looks after our source water testing and source water quality, along with interior health, to come up with a temporary solution of adding chlorine through the early stages of the water treatment plant. This allows the manganese to be oxidized and removed through the DAF, dissolved air flotation and filtration of the water treatment plant. It is a temporary solution because adding chlorine to the water is more chlorine than is needed isn't standard practice. It can cause disinfection byproducts. So we are looking at longer term solutions, and some of those longer term solutions were identified during the design of the water treatment plant. Interior Health mentioned just because you have a plant, don't forget about your source water quality, and that was well before, obviously, the fires took place. We had a project in the 10-year plan under 2031. We're working with the same consulting team to advance that work and looking that we might do a request for next year, actually in advance of the budget, because some of the improvements will likely have some longer lead time. So we're still working with a consultant on developing that plan, but the things we've discussed is aeration, additional aeration in the Rose Valley Lake. Also intake improvements to adjust the location of the intake depending on the source water quality to ensure we're not taking poor water quality off the bottom of the lake. And then also an alternative source of oxidation, maybe potassium permanganate rather than chlorine, that won't lead to disinfection byproducts. So that project was identified $2 million in 2031. We're looking forward to advance that, and we're hoping to have something before council sometime in November for further consideration. And finally, I just want to echo what our CAO mentioned about thanking residents for their patience during commissioning of the plant, and then also thanks for their feedback. We did receive various feedback already, and it helps our staff improve water quality. They're always committed to providing the best water we can to residents. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hillis. And just before I open up to council for questions and perhaps comments, I'd like to speak to this important issue myself. So I'd just like to start off by thanking staff for all their hard work in managing the issues that have resulted from the unprecedented wildfire damage around the Rose Valley Reservoir and with the ongoing commissioning of our new plant. The technical adjustments that have been made over the last several weeks have resulted in less water discoloration and odor reported by those affected, and our council is grateful. I also know that without the new plant, our water quality would have been significantly worse. I'd like to reassure our Rose Valley Water Service Area customers that we have extremely rigorous public health guidelines that we must meet in partnership with the Interior Health Authority. And our water remains safe, and if our test results reflect unacceptable readings, the appropriate water quality advisory will be issued in consultation with Interior Health. We continue to remain in the commissioning phase of the plant so that the public should expect fluctuations from changing conditions in the reservoir. As Mr. Hillis has indicated, an example is seasonal changes from fall into winter and as we transition into spring of next year. And please, we remind our public to always call our water utility department directly at 778-797-2246, as our staff have assured council that public water quality inquiries remain a priority. Along with thanking our staff for all their hard work, council would also like to thank any Rose Valley water users who were affected. It's just not pleasant to experience discolored water and odor, and we thank you for your understanding while the team of water experts work to rectify the problem as quickly as possible. So I will just check with council to see if you have any questions or comments. Councillor Dion.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you to Mr. Hillis. I don't have any questions. I appreciate that you're here today giving us an update, so thank you. Really do appreciate that. And this is more your purview than mine. I look at you as the expert to give me guidance as the layperson, so no questions on that end. But I do have a few comments to the mayor. You make some comments about there may be some more budget asks coming sooner rather than later. And I'm usually someone who's a bit of a stickler when it comes to budget requests outside of cycles. But for me, we spent $72+ million on this treatment plant to deliver some of the best water in the country to residences. We need to get there, and we're well underway. We've got an amazing plant. We've got phenomenal staff that are running the plant. And if there's something more that they need to improve the source water quality so that the plant can function at its best, I'm all for seeing those ask items come forward sooner rather than later. That may be shocking, but this is a priority, and we need to be open to those budget requests. So when you're ready as staff to bring forward some of those requests, once you're sure that those next steps will make the difference, from my perspective anyways, I would say don't hesitate. Bring them forward, let's discuss them, and let's move this forward. So I appreciate that some of it's going to be costly and we're going to have to figure out how to pay for some of it, but whatever we can do to continue to improve to get that plant functioning at its best, I'm certainly open for. You know, I'm grateful that we're encouraging residents to reach out, continue to reach out to us. I know for some that I've certainly heard from, it's been a trying time. Been frustrating, and that frustration is certainly felt by all. Certainly, you know, even at this table for myself particularly, I can express that I've been frustrated that we've been struggling to get where we want to be, and it's not due to lack of trying or want and what we've invested in, so we will get there. But I would also like to reiterate to residents, continue to reach out with your questions and your concerns so that we can all work together to ensure that we're getting the issues addressed to get the best drinking water to each and every house in West Kelowna. This is a we thing. It's not an us and them thing. It's not residents are concerned and the city staff. We're all going to need to work on this together. So from a residential perspective, please continue to reach out. so that we can work together and help to solve those issues. We've got a great plant, we've got great staff. We're going to deliver some of the best water quality in the country. We just need to fine tune it. Thank you.
Great.
Oh,
Thanks,
and as someone who is on the system myself, I can understand some of the frustrations from this summer with some of the brown water as we were figuring out the manganese. And I'm grateful to say I'm up on the Sunnyside side of things, and certainly I've seen some significant improvements in the water quality coming out of my tap. So we're getting there, and we're going to get all the way.
Great. Thanks for your comments, Councillor Dion. Appreciate it. Councillor Friesen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too am on this water system, and yeah, it's good. It's moments, but at the end of the day, you know, I haven't had any real big issues, and that's good to see. And I too really appreciate the fact that we have working hard to come up with solutions, rather than just sitting back and waiting for the weather to change or things like that. So I do see a lot of comments about, I just don't trust it. I just don't, I don't believe it's safe. I don't feel it's safe. Can you speak a little bit to how do where is testing done? I know it's a big thing, but the best you can summarize, and then who ultimately decides that this is safe versus not safe? And what are the guidelines that are used to deal with that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In response to Councillor Friesen's question, our operations staff works closely with Interior Health for a regimented testing program throughout the distribution system. So it's basically tested at random various points throughout the distribution system. For certain tests, they're ongoing almost daily. Some tests are done quarterly for a full water analysis. So we work with with Interior Health, who provides our permit to operate. We've met all our requirements with Interior Health, continue our testing program, and submit monthly reports to Interior Health. And then when we do find issues like with manganese, we work with Interior Health to communicate with them what our readings were, whether whether it was appropriate to issue a water quality advisory, or also they helped us on some of the information and educational information we provided on our website. So hopefully that provides you an understanding of how we are working with the authorities.
Right. So I guess all that to say, at the end of the day, staff will be very diligent and are diligent in doing all the testing. So even if on an odd day the water has a bit of an odor, a little bit higher chlorine, our residents can be assured that it's passed all the testing, because we're testing daily, and that the water is still safe to drink, albeit maybe not as pleasant, but it's still safe. It's not harming them. Is that right?
That's correct. We do have information on bottle-fed infants and manganese on our website that I would like to point residents to. If you are bottle-feeding infants, please visit our website for helping with that. But
okay. Again, appreciate it, and I appreciate the fact that we're continuing to work on it, and that we'll get there. We'll get consistent, but right now it is still safe. You can drink it. It's all right.
Okay, thanks for your comments, Councillor Friesen. Councillor Dion.
Sorry, as I'm listening to my colleague opposite, through the mayor to Ms. So what test results, or just to be clear so that the public, what test results are we posting on the website at this point? Is it the full test results, or is it specifically to certain aspects of the test at this time?
So, Mr. Mayor, we are and will be testing or providing full test results. We hadn't previously, but we've been working with Interior Health on communicating these with the public, because we've had more demand and interest in these results. So we are sharing the current testing, and we still have some work to do to share some of the historical testing.
Right, good. So at the end of the day, it's like, water's safe. If you want the details on what makes it safe, you can go here and see the details.
Correct.
Wonderful. And when we get to that point, that'll be great. And I know this has been a trying time for one and all, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Councillor, one more. Councillor Simon, go ahead.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but decided I'd just join in while we're talking about excellence at the new water treatment plant. And we want it to be the best that it can be, and understanding that it's something new in such a large area, and unintended consequences of the disasters that we've had through fires in the last few years. I would just like to add one more thing. It's like a broken record because I bring this up almost every chance I get. During the winter, turning to supply, I would really like to see it put into the plan that we test supplying water from Powers Creek to Rose Valley in case a catastrophe struck in some time in the future, and the reverse as well. There have been so many things involved with getting a new plant up and going, and as soon as we can get this to provide safe, stable water, I don't want to add another thing onto the list while you're still coping with the situation right now, but I really would like to see at some point that we test for supply in case of an unforeseen catastrophe in the future, that we could supply a safe drinking water to half the city if the other half had a compromised situation. So, thank you.
Great.
Plan, and that is one of the items that we have tasked a consultant to look at. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Mr. Ellis, for your presentation.